He won a couple of Super Bowls. He's been an MVP, and he's a Hall of Famer. He's Steve Young joining us on the program. All right, am I talking to Steve Young, Niner fan, former Niner, or Steve Young analyst?
Dispassionate Steve Young. We're going to look at it from a 30,000 feet, and we'll zoom in as much as you want, Daniel. I'm ready for you.
Okay, where do you want to start? Where did the game change, in your opinion?
The game changed in the preseason, and I've talked about this. I don't know, to myself 1,000 times when the rules changed, and defenders can't launch anymore. There's more space in the offense, and the players that are gonna run championship football now and into the future. I said it 3 years ago. Are the 5 or 6 guys who are sophisticated throwers of the football, but yet can go and get 60 to 100 yards in a championship format. And that's who's going to win every time into the future. And so last night, it ended up being the same thing with the game on the line, moving with their legs, making it happen in that key, and that's what the game is today. And it's wide open. And so for me, it was like, this is how it goes. You're going to lose to Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Lamar Jackson's trying to transition. Justin Herbert's trying to get some help. Maybe C.J. Stroud's going to join the group. And so there'll be 6 people who are going to win Super Bowls, and they're just going to trade it out. I didn't think Patrick Mahomes would win them all, but those are the guys that are going to decide it. So yesterday, to me, at the end of the game, it felt like it was the same old thing.
The philosophy of the Niners to take the ball to start overtime. How did that bother you?
I mean, look, if you look across the field and Patrick Mahomes is there, and look, the way I look at the game, I just explained it to you. I don't want him to touch the ball, and the only chance I have to do that is go down and score a touchdown. And we got a dynamic team with a lot of talent. Why be afraid of that? Why to try to play the odds? Let's take the ball and end the game, and don't put it in Patrick Mahomes' hand. The idea that you're going to give it to him, to me, Dan, if you're going to start overtime and say, hey, look, Patrick Mahomes, you take the ball. It just feels. For me, I would not want to do that. I would tell my coach, if I was on that sideline and we had that choice, I'd say, give me the frickin' football. Let's go do it.
Now, this is, from an outsider looking in this, it felt like Kyle Shanahan wanted Brock Purdy to win that game, that he wanted to prove that Brock Purdy was not just Mr. Irrelevant, that they threw the ball a lot more than I thought they needed to.
Yeah.
Is that a fair criticism of Kyle Shanahan?
It's fair. Well, I mean, you think about it, you held Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to 3 at halftime and under 20 in regulation. That's the dream scenario. That is the scenario where you win it 9 out of 10 times. You hold Patrick Mahomes under 20, you'll win it 9 out of 10 times. And the fact is they didn't. And so they got to look back on what they did, and especially those 3 big drives out of halftime with the lead. They threw the ball 8 and 9 and 9 to 10 times, I want to say. And yeah, he must have felt. Look, Kyle's the kind of guy. I don't think he's trying to prove anything. I think he's trying to win, and I think he's trying to, he's going to put the ball in people's hands in an innovative way. But yeah, I thought they'd run the ball and run it more effectively for sure.
Yeah, but I have to go back to the Atlanta Super Bowl. All they have to do is take 3 knees, and then they kick a field goal. Then they win the game. He has Matt Ryan going back to pass. The biggest play of the game, he got sacked. Like there was.
Don't go there. Yeah, don't go back there because that's just too painful. I mean, I threw up in my mouth just thinking about that, and I wasn't even a part of it. I mean, that's what you don't want to go back. Don't. You're starting to leak oil now. Let's stay with yesterday, bro. Let's not go too far. Because that's too painful. That one is the most painful thing I think I can remember in sports. So I don't want to go there.
Well, the Lions losing to San Francisco being up 24-7.
Well, I mean, you knew the 49ers would come back, but when Coach Dan decided that he was going to be himself and not go up 27-7 is the most egregious, painful, inexplicable insanity that I've ever seen in my life. And he'll say, well, that's not what I do. It's like, look, bro, this is championship football, contextual football, artful coaching. Come on. And so they can only blame themselves, the Lions.
We're talking to Hall of Famer Steve Young. I brought this up a couple of times, and it really hit home last night. Situational football. I don't know if there's anybody better than Mahomes of I don't run, but I will run, or I'll take that pass. This wasn't a great offense. I mean, if you're going to get
No,
the
this is the
Chiefs,
down year. If you're going to get the Chiefs, this is the time.
yeah,
No question about that. But that goes back to my original point, Dan. If you can be a sophisticated passer of the football and you can run and you can develop that maturity to know when and how, you cannot be stopped in today's game. It's impossible. You can put a best defense in the league and do all this stuff. It doesn't matter. That guy or those guys will run the league into the future, and no one's going to stop him. That's championship football. So he is that guy because he was Superman early in his career. And you can feel he put the cape on. He loved to put the cape on and run around and do all this kind of stuff. And Andy told him after they lost to the Bucks, look, we won't win championships if you try to be Superman too much. Go back and be Clark Kent. Go back and do the commodity work that quarterbacks need to do to call the play, get the ball out, drop it off for 3 yards, drop it off for 4, do the stuff that really kind of gets offenses need that continuity. And then yet, anytime you really need it, go ahead and put the cape on and go figure it out. And that's why they will get more dangerous because they'll retool better than they were this year for sure. And then the other teams that I mentioned with those guys that can do that, they need to get better. And if they do, they'll just trade Super Bowls for the next 10 years.
we saw Kelsey and his coach have a little moment there. I mean, this is the Super Bowl, and Kelsey's like, "Oh, you guys saw that? Like, there's cameras on everybody and everything." How often does that happen? That players, I mean, I don't know. Could you imagine Belichick? That Brady did that to Belichick.
Bad luck, and Travis knows it. He's lucky that they won because he would have heard about it for the rest of his career. But I think that's the magic of Andy Reid. Andy has a knack at being able to deflect something like that and just move forward. I bet he went in the halftime and made a joke about it and said something like, Travis, you okay? You look a little bit apoplectic out there. You need some heart medicine so I'm sure he kind of played it off that way because that's his magic. And that's how he keeps people moving forward. He doesn't have that confrontation, that words that are said that can't be taken back. And so he allows for that space, and it shows perfectly in the Chiefs kind of pantheon of all the things that they get done with all the personalities they have. And then Taylor Swift and everything else that happened. Andy Reid is that guy to take that all in and find a profitable way forward. So huge credit for Andy to have that happen and then have it not be the thing that defined the whole game, because most coaches and most players, they end up in a conflict and they can't get out of it.
And I was thinking about this last night that, we have Mahomes is GOAT in waiting. We don't look at Andy Reid's place in history. That, yes, Bill Belichick is here. Where's Andy Reid?
Right there. I mean, wins, championships now. And just, I think the context for what I just told you, look at his coaching tree. Look at the whole league is dominated by people that have come from Andy Reid or around Andy Reid as he kind of seeks, I call it the spirit of abundance that he has in coaching. Can I help my, assistants go get great jobs? Can I train them? Can I give them everything that I have so they can come back and compete against me? It was the theory of Bill Walsh. And so it's kind of gone through Mike Holmgren and Andy Reid. And so it's not only just what he's done on the field, it's what he's done for the game. And so in that way, come on, get in line, Andy Reid. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, no question, but is he the greatest or one of the greatest? Yeah, there's no question.
Now, was he a lineman when you were at BYU?
No, he was a graduate assistant. He had finished his coaching his playing career with BYU, and so he coached me I was on the JV, Dan, my freshman year. They had a JV back then, and I was the JV quarterback, and Andy was the coach because the graduate assistant someone had to go coach the JV. And so we were running the Wyoming wishbone to get ready for Wyoming, and I was running the wishbone, and I was killing the defense. And he goes, "You know what? Let's run it in our JV game next week." And I'm go, "Oh, great, Coach Reid. Thanks so much. I'm freaking trying to learn the BYU offense. Let's go run the Wyoming offense." And he and I used to go at it, a lot of fun stuff. You can imagine what Andy was like, even at his young age. He was a guy that understood quarterbacks, Dan. He was a guy that could speak the quarterback language, even from an offensive lineman, which is unusual.
All right, you can't take yourself, but you can take any other quarterback.
No, I'm taking myself.
No, you can't take yourself. You're off the board.
All right.
All right. You have a final drive to win the Super Bowl.
In today's game,
Today's game.
with the guys on the field today,
Let's take everybody who is not playing now, because then Mahomes would be your guy.
well,
Right.
in today's game, you need someone who can go get those yards.
Okay, of people who've played the game who are no longer playing the game. One
I
drive.
know, but like again, the game's changed now, Dan. It's not like you can't just be a sophisticated thrower or an incredibly sophisticated thrower of the football. You have to be in championship football, go be able to get the 60 yards. What did he get? 66 yards yesterday? Spit him out. Could he have needed 80? Yeah, he can go get them. So who is that guy that can go do that?
Okay, so who are you taking who is not playing the game anymore?
Well, there's not that many guys that can go spit out 80 to 100 yards in a championship format. And so who would that guy be?
It'd be you.
Well,
So could
you
Montana?
you think like this is a setup? This is a setup.
No, it's not. I do believe that you came too early in your career. If you played today, you would be even
It's hard
great.
to watch.
Yes,
It's hard to watch because the game's kind of coming to me. I
Okay,
agree with that. But okay, but Joe Montana, Dan Marino, John Elway, like they're all
Elway could have done it.
Yeah. Could Elway go run for 100 yards?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, then there's your guy.
In his early in his career before he had the knee issue, Marino couldn't have done it. Montana?
He can spit out some yards, no question. He can get it done. Absolutely.
Aaron
Well,
Rodgers.
in today's game, Aaron Rodgers, absolutely. I mean, Aaron Rodgers if he can get healthy again, he can jump in the fray because he was taught in a more sophisticated era and could take advantage of it, just like Matthew Stafford's going to keep trying to do. That's the anomaly. It's like a shortcut to Everest. You're climbing, and all of a sudden there's a shortcut. The shortcut is those guys that can do that, or you're taught in another era, or you have an incredible array of talent in free agency that's once in a generation. Those are the guys that can take the shortcut.
All right, Brock Purdy calls you up today. What do you tell him?
Brock told you last week after the championship game, I'm not the biggest, I'm not the strongest, I'm not the fastest. So he's going to do it in his own. Brock Purdy, and his superpower is processing. And he processed very well yesterday. He's going to continue he's going to be what he is and who he is all on display. And it's like you said, he's favored for the MVP, one of the favorites for the MVP next year. It's all that kind of stuff. And so I would tell Brock, though, in today's game, make sure that you can go get those 60, 80, 100 yards and just maybe adjust your game so you make sure that you can go get those.
Niners might be the greatest team to never win a Super Bowl.
This year was amazing. They have a collection of talent that is once in a generation.
But that window, Steve.
It's gonna close.
Yeah,
it
looks like it's wide open.
They're gonna have to adjust.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to adjust. But teams adjust. Look at it. But again, there's what 5 or 6 guys in the league. Everyone else is looking up in the league to those guys that are going to win in championship football. They're just going to trade out the Super Bowl. And then, for the NFC, the guys because they're all in the AFC. In the NFC, you have to just get there and have to beat that guy one time, which I think you can do. But everyone in the AFC is going to trade paint until, for the foreseeable future.
Is that like a classroom there that you're joining? It looks like you're in
my office. Well, my long-term partner, he's on the other side of the building. We've been in there 25 years in the business.
Yeah.
During COVID, I have all my helmets that I trade traffic in for my charity golf tournaments. So that's how we make our budget every year. And they're always piled in the corner. And he's such a neat freak. During COVID, I'll hang them all up. So they're hanging all around the whole thing. It looks like the goofiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it kind of looks like you're in a library at a grade school or something.
Yeah, no, this is the office. This is where the magic happens.
You have a Super Bowl ring nearby?
I do not, but with enough warning, I could get a couple 3.
Okay, maybe next time you're on. Do you have a favorite? Was it when you carved up the Chargers? Or?
The biggest one, yeah. I mean, they get bigger every time. It's sad that we thought they were big back in the day. We didn't realize that you could do a 2-finger job. Like, we'll just get them. Make them huge.
Well, I came up with this idea, and I think somebody decided to do it, and that is have a ring within the ring so you can wear something out that gives you, your wife doesn't wear an engagement ring, so you can get a ring within a ring.
Yeah, but Dan, the whole point is that you roll in. It's like, hey, do you have a table? And you kind of pass your ring across the face. And I was like, wow, what is that? That's the whole point. Bro, you want an understated Super Bowl ring?
Yes, because no, I want you to be able to wear
Are you in the
it.
Premier League and in relegation? Like, what is
No,
going on?
when you're out to dinner, you're not a flashy guy.
Why not? I actually don't wear it, but I mean, I think what the whole point is that if you're going to wear it, you make a good point. If I had a smaller version, I might wear it more often.
Yes, like
I
a
hear you.
class ring.
I hear you. I hear you. It is a little bit obnoxious.
Yeah, it is, and that's
meant-
that's not
meant-
you. That's
it's
not.
meant-
Yeah. How about we start a business
Yeah, come on in.
and we'll call it that has a nice ring to it.
And it's got a nice ring to it is the name of the company.
Yeah.
Or two. It's got a nice ring to it or two. And then you open one up and then a smaller version comes out.
Or
You
4 if you're Joe Montana.
Yeah, exactly. Or 7. which was insane
I know.
until last night.
I know.
And now suddenly it doesn't seem as insane.
Do you think Mahomes will get to 7?
In today's game, again, Dan, probably more likely than in past generations because of what I've just described.
Yeah. That's
It's
crazy.
The Super Bowl is going to be amongst 3 or 4 guys and just let them trade out. It's not like you can get a great defense and go for the Everest or you can process you got to have that guy. So yeah, maybe more so than ever. Maybe
Crazy.
9. I mean, in today's era, why not?
Yeah, I know. Good to talk to you.
You're the best.
Thank you, Steve.
See you, buddy.
And Steve Young, Hall of Famer. You know what? We need to get in front of Mark Cuban. What's the name of that show?
Shark Tank.
Shark
yeah.
Tank. Hi, I'm Dan, and this is Steve, and we have this idea for a ring company.